NYT Columnist hasn't been able to sleep since the cursed night of Trump's election. Hello everyone, this is Mr. Obvious, bringing you the obvious. And today, on FoxNews.com, as well as the NYT. So, many of you may have heard of Trump derangement syndrome. It is a condition, a medical condition, that happens when someone is so infected by the brainwashing against the big bad orange man that they absolutely lose their minds and become insane. Well, even more insane than they already were. So here you can see, NYT Columnist discloses insomnia she's had since cursed night of Trump's election. So this girl hasn't been able to sleep. She hasn't been able to sleep since cursed Donald Trump won. This article is by Sam Dorman. But before that, monetization on my channel is completely disabled, so I must do this plug. You can join me on Patreon or Subscribestar, and sharing videos you enjoy or think are interesting also helps. Now, a New York Times columnist, Michelle Goldberg, indicated on Friday that President Trump's election was so upsetting that it gave her years of insomnia. The tidbit came in a column about Democratic pollster Stanley Greenberg making what she calls a thrilling prediction that 2020 will see a blue wave that will crash and shatter the Republican Party. Talk about fantasy! They have it backwards. It's not the Republican Party that's going to crash and shatter. The Republican Party has experienced a rebirth of sorts, a resurgence, or at least a bit more support. It's the Democratic Party that's dying, because it swung further and further left and has gone completely insane. His confidence will not be enough to lessen the insomnia that has plagued me since the cursed night when Trump was elected, Goldberg wrote. Goldberg previously claimed democracy was in danger and that Trump had treated his oath of office the way he's rumored to have treated a Moscow's hotel bed. Yeah, that was fake news, lady. She also called the president a professional racist. Got a citation for that? And decided that the moral and psychic cost of participating in the fiction that people who work for Trump are in any sense public servants. So this woman is clearly deranged. Her hatred for Trump runs deep. Goldberg isn't the only one to experience psychological problems from Trump being in the White House. Since Trump's election, he apparently prompted chronic distresses among progressives, something his supporters appeared to mock as Trump derangement syndrome. That's because it is. It's because you're completely deranged. This lady here has not been able to sleep since Trump became president. That's a serious sign of a mental disorder or illness. This woman needs professional help. Psychologists reportedly saw a bout of Trump anxiety disorder in the months following the election. So this is how you know that these people on the left, they're so weak, they're so sick, they're so deranged that merely losing sends them into a downward spiral. How sad. They must be like little children in adult bodies. You know, that's what I've noticed. A lot of adults these days are basically children piloting adult bodies. They're not grown up, they're not mature, they're still little babies. You know, I think the boomers call them snowflakes. The CBC interview psychologist Elizabeth Lamonte, who mentioned a collective anxiety she found among patients worried about Trump's actions. There is a fear of the world ending, she said. It's very disorienting and constantly unsettling. Oh, serves you right. What's been called Trump anxiety disorder, Trump derangement syndrome, the CBC article read, has been on the rise in the months following the election, according to mental health professionals across the country who report unusually high levels of politics-related stress in their practices. That's what brainwashing does to people. It's what joining a cult, the cult of leftism, does to people. They've gone insane. I cannot wait to see what happens if and when Trump wins again in 2020. It will be hilarious. Maybe they'll finally go off the edge, who knows. In 2018, the Journal of American College Health similarly said that 25% of students at Arizona State University reported symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder after Trump's election. That is an insult to all of our veterans. Oh, they got PST because Trump won. No, I do not think so. I think you're insulting everyone who actually went through a real war because you're a little child. Gator76 says, that's precious. Get ready for 4 more years of insomnia. Trump 2020. Johnny Good has a really good point. The rest of the country was ill for the 8 years prior to Trump's inauguration. Exactly. Tiberius1 says, if there's anything we can do to make your life even more miserable, please let us know. Live Oak Strong says, who in their right mind would admit to being so weak-minded? Well, for liberals, like another person says, it's a badge of honor. Weakness, victimhood, they embrace these things. I find disgust in those things. This is the article, and this is Michelle Goldberg. Dare we dream of the end of the GOP? In a new book, the pollster Stanley Greenberg predicts a tidal wave in 2020. Why do all these bergs have different colors? So this is hilarious. This is obviously leftist delusion and fantasy. You would truly have to be deluded to believe that it's the Republicans who are going to die, and not the Democrats who have been going insane, turning the moderate public away from them. Yeah, I think the world looks at you saying that men can have babies too, that we should give free healthcare to illegals when we have a homelessness problem, and other insane things like you're going to raise taxes, and you think you're going to win. The world is finally waking up, and dare I say it, the end of the Democrats is closer than the end of the GOP. So I'm going to skim this article a bit. Stanley Greenberg makes a thrilling prediction, delivered with the certainty of a prophecy. The year 2020 will produce a second blue wave on at least the scale of the first in 2018, and finally will crash and shatter the Republican Party that was consumed by the ill-gotten battle to stop the new America from governing, he writes. They actually believe they're the future. They actually believe they are the new America. If you're the new America, there is no new America. This is the stupidest prediction ever. And I, for one, am going to say, nope. We're not done winning. We're not done making you all look like fools. In fact, we are closer to destroying the Democratic Party than we have been in a long time. Now, I'm a registered Republican, but I do consider myself more of a libertarian. That being said, I agree with conservative ideology. We shouldn't increase taxes. We shouldn't hurt the working man. We shouldn't employ social welfare programs, and we shouldn't tax our citizens to death. It's common logic. Greenberg foresees the death of the Republican Party as we've known it, and a Democratic Party liberated from the nation's suffocating polarization to use government to advance the public good. I like to believe it, and maybe you would too. But should we? No, because it's the ravings of a lunatic. He has even less credibility as a pollster, okay? Pollsters are full of shit. In his polling and focus groups, he's seeing that the reaction to Trump is changing people. The Trump presidency so invaded the public's consciousness that it was hard to talk to previously disengaged and unregistered unmarried women, people of color, and millennials without them going right to Trump, he writes. The specter of California haunts the modern right. Many conservatives see it as a portent of what demographic changes will do to the Republican power nationally. But California can just as easily be seen as a sign of how a political party can drive itself to ruin by making a cruel doom stand against the coming generation. I find it hilarious they think that California is proof that Democrats are going to win. Yeah, Republicans are afraid of the demographic changes and what they've done to California. California's a shithole. Literally, rat-infested, homeless, drug-infested mess. Full of people who should not be in the country. People do fear that, but not for the reasons you think. Now, here we get to the cherry on top. His confidence will not be enough to lessen the insomnia that has plagued me since the cursed night when Trump was elected. But his book should be a corrective to the media's overwhelming focus on the mulish devotion of Trump voters. Trump hatred is a much more potent force in this country than Trump love. There is one way, and one way only, that Trump may surpass Barack Obama. Though Obama was a community organizer, Trump could turn out to be much better at mobilizing progressives. So they're clearly irrational. They're clearly delusional. And actually, it's amazing, but the comments here are kind of red-pilled. If Miss Goldberg is rooting for Greenberg's death of the GOP, then she's effectively embracing one-party rule. The next step would be to call off all future elections because, well, what's the point? The Democrats would be running unopposed in their utopian America. Sorry, that's not for me. Wow, red-pilledness from the NYT. That's crazy. Alan C. says, remember when people couldn't wait for the Mueller report? Don't count your chickens yet. And we'll leave off with this comment. Gary Den says, I remember many Democrats having a similar view back in 2008, that the GOP was on its deathbed. Be wary of overconfidence. Ah, yes, overconfidence, the silent killer. I think it goes without saying that this is a fantasy. These people literally cannot sleep because they're deranged. It's hilarious. And I love seeing them suffer because they're wrong. They're on the wrong side of history. They're on the wrong side of politics. And they really are the villains that they project onto everyone else. So suffer. Lose sleep. All because Orange Man bad. You enjoying life as an NPC? I sure hope so, because that's the life you'll get. But that's merely the obvious. Well, that's all for now, folks. What do you think about this story? What do you think about the deranged people who cannot even sleep because Orange Man is bad? Be sure to let me know. Just a reminder, you can join me on Patreon or Subscribestar for as low as $1. Doing so will give you access to Fight Club, a private Discord server. Be sure to check out the description for links. Lastly, sharing videos that you enjoy, think are important, or are just funny on social media also helps. As always, thanks for watching. This has been Mr. Obvious, and I'll see you all next time.